Good, happy Saturday morning, March 2nd, 2019. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, we begin with breaking news. Authorities respond to reports of barricaded subject in Sunapee. Police in Sunapee say they are dealing with a barricaded subject on Lower Main Street Saturday morning. New Loudoun Police and New Hampshire State Police are at the scene assisting. Officers have set up a command post at Sunapee High School on North Road. This story is developing. We will keep you updated as more information comes into our newsroom. Berwick firefighter killed in apartment building blaze. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Gene Mackin.
Burst out the door when it matters most. For more than a decade, he's been right there, everywhere. And when American jobs are on the line, he leads the charge. ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast, and we thank you.
In Berwick, Maine, and across the region, firefighters are feeling the heavy loss of one of their own.
Though this is what we do all the time for every one of us in the fire service, when we lose one of our own, it's a difficult time.
Friday morning, flames shot out from the roof of a three-story apartment building on Bell Street. The fire spreading quickly, trapping two firefighters.
The Mayday was declared only minutes into the first arriving companies that arrived here.
Captain Joel Barnes later died from his injuries. 4 other firefighters were treated and released at a Dover hospital. Crews struck 4 alarms, bringing help from 16 communities, including 10 in New Hampshire.
Obviously, you can see that this was a difficult situation for all of the fire departments that responded.
The cause remains under investigation as this small town mourns the line of duty death of Captain Barnes.
We ask that everyone keeps all the members, all the people involved here, especially the family of Captain Barnes, in their hearts, as the coming weeks will be tough for all involved.
A difficult day for so many in both states. Captain Barnes was honored tonight with a procession.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And our thoughts and prayers go to the Berwick firefighter that was killed. Our thoughts and prayers go to his co-workers, family, and friends. Car man working to roll out same-day delivery robot invented in New Hampshire. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Kristen Carosa.
Dean Kamen holds hundreds of patents, perhaps best known for inventing the Segway. Now he's teaming up with FedEx to launch a delivery robot.
It made a lot of national news in its debut a couple of days ago.
The same-day delivery bot looks just like this. It's battery operated and can travel 10 miles an hour, carrying up to 100 pounds.
It goes through sand pits, and it goes over gravel, and it goes through puddles and potholes and up and down curbs.
It even goes upstairs, all obstacles it would encounter in any city. The robot comes with cameras, lights, and signals to show the direction it's taking.
Getting now slowly but carefully get this thing into real operations around the country to make sure that it does everything that Federal Express expects it to do.
He's looking to get approval to test the robot in Manchester, and then the goal would be to bring it to neighborhoods across the country.
Where it's just not practical to use cars and trucks and airplanes to move, a 2-pound pizza or something.
Kamen says the base is the same as the one on this wheelchair that he invented roughly 20 years ago.
It's not similar to this. It's identical. The whole plan is the power base for the iBot becomes the power base for the same-day bot.
And Kamen says because they'll now produce a lot of these bases, it will help drive down the cost of the wheelchair.
By bringing the volumes up on those bases, we'll start making the seated version available to every vet that needs mobility.
In Manchester, Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Very cool indeed. Officials credit smoke detectors for saving family who escaped burning home. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Siobhan Lopez.
Well, while this could have been much worse, still a very difficult day for the family that lives here. We're told it's a very young family with 2 small children, and today they have family and friends out here all throughout the day to help them in any way that they can. Several 911 calls were made just before noon for a fire on Sir Isaac Way. Crews were met by heavy fire in the area of the garage. Departments from at least 7 other communities, including Nashua, Londonderry, and Pelham, all came in to assist. The deputy chief says that no one was injured. Smoke detectors alerted the people inside, and they just barely made it out in time. There are no hydrants in this area.
We added tankers on the first call, so we never had any water issues whatsoever. We had plenty of water. It was a real good fight. The guys worked real hard. They pushed in and they saved the house.
A big takeaway here is that nobody was injured, but unfortunately tonight the deputy chief does tell us that the family's 3 cats did not make it out. They did die in this fire. The cause remains under investigation. We're live in Hudson tonight. Siobhan Lopez, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Police release photo of car believed to be involved in Franklin hit and run. Authorities think car is a Mazda 6. Franklin police released new details Friday about a hit and run in the city that left a man seriously injured. Take a look at that photo of that car. And here is a image of that car right here, as you can see. Police released a surveillance picture of the car they believe hit Edward Douglas Jr., 53, Wednesday evening on Central Street in Franklin. Authorities think the car is a 2009 to 2011 black Mazda 6. Police said it's very possible that the owner of the car was not driving, and either a friend or someone else may have been involved in the hit and run. Police also said the car may have had some previous damage. Clearly, there was front end damage already to the vehicle, to the front end bumper. It was some type of minor repair done to it with a zip tie or something of that nature. So we could see that there was a damage to the vehicle prior to the crash, Sergeant Gregg of the New Hampshire State Police said Douglas was taken to the hospital with serious injuries, but is expected to be released soon. Police are looking to speak with anyone who may be able to identify that car or the driver. New Hampshire murder suspects headbutts officer before a competency hearing. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Ray Brewer.
Mike, according to court officials, as officers were getting set to transport him to court, Devin Tappan headbutted at least one of the officers, and they decided he was too dangerous to transport. Devin Tappan is charged with second-degree murder for the crime back in January of 2017, caving in the skull of his upstairs neighbor during a fight. During Friday's hearing, the Attorney General's office introduced additional information in the form of jail recordings and some autopsy photos in their attempt to prove Tappan is competent to stand trial. The defense has noted that Tappan, against his lawyer's advice, wants to be found competent, repeating that Tappan has stated he would rather do 30 years in prison than 5 years in the psychiatric unit. The AG's office says its latest evidence with Tappan going into detail about the murder proves he is able to aid in his defense.
The defendant has the ability to relate this information. He has the ability to consult with this lawyer with a reasonable degree of rational understanding.
So just the fact that Devin can recount it doesn't make him competent. If his account doesn't make sense, if his account of what happened is inexplicably intertwined with the psychosis he is suffering.
Now, there's no word on when the judge will render his decision. However, both the prosecution and defense note that the judge is very familiar with this case, having heard much of the information back in November. In the meantime, Tappan will remain in the secure psychiatric unit. Again, that's the place where the defense says he doesn't want to be. Reporting live in Nashua, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. DEA raids alleged drug mill, recovers enough fentanyl to kill 2 million people. DEA and local authorities seized 5 kilos of fentanyl and 6 kilos of heroin. Let's take a look at this video from ABC News.
Seriously, what is this? New Listerine Ready tabs aren't gum, mints, or marbles. If you guessed they're tabs that turn into liquid as you chew, so you can swish and clean your whole mouth instantly, then you were correct. And that was a really good guess. Nice job.
An upscale neighborhood in Westchester County, the scene of a major drug bust. Federal agents arresting 5 people that they say were running a fentanyl mill out of a home in Ardsley. Eyewitness News reporter Marcus Solis has the latest.
I was just looking at the house, and he drove up and around, and I saw a whole bunch of policemen.
A drug takedown at an unlikely address. This morning, DEA agents and Greenberg police executed a search warrant in Ardsley, arresting 1 woman and 4 men who they say were running a fentanyl mill out of an otherwise nondescript suburban home. These are pictures from inside, provided by the DEA, that show bags of powder concealed in a compartment in a piece of furniture, 2 kilograms of fentanyl and heroin that were seized, and a press used to form the kilos. The DEA says it received support from the community during its investigation, with some residents reporting a large number of cars coming and going at night.
The only thing weird was sometimes you'd see the garbage cans out at weird times, you know, like not when everyone else would have their garbage out. So I thought that was a little strange.
Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that can be lethal even in small quantities. Investigators believe after being processed at the home on Euclid Avenue, the drug was moved off-site to be sold.
Look, things happen everywhere. They do. And am I surprised? Yeah, it's a quiet neighborhood. Nothing happens really here, but it happens.
Off camera, the owner of the house tells Eyewitness News he started renting the house in December to a couple that had just moved into the area, but he says he was unaware of any illegal activity. In Ardsley, Marcus Solis, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that did it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday and a great rest of your day. And I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.